Okay, so here what we're going to do is we're going to check the negative and the positive. It doesn't matter the direction, it'll show up negative or positive on your meter. But go ahead and hook the black to the black and the red to the red. Don't short out these connectors. And you can see there's no power on this right now. 0 voltage, okay? So we know this is going to be part of the ignition circuit just by it not having power right now, but we're going to go ahead and turn on the ignition. What we've got here on this Harley Davidson 2019, on the keychain, it's got to have this little guy close. We just turned on the ignition. You don't need to start it. Just turn it on, get the battery on. Your dashboard's going to light up. Going to have some LEDs. Okay, I'm going to take out this little guy here just so that I can show you on the bench how you go and tap into these wires. This is a 716 socket, and it'll take those 2 bolts out. Don't need to take out all 3, just the bottom 2. Okay, now that I've taken the little cigarette lighter off, this little adapter guy right here, I'll show you on the bench how we're going to make connections to this. It's got 2 bolts that had Loctite on it. We got to replace the Loctite on these bolts when we put the bolts back in. It's a standard 17/16 inch socket. It's a 7/16 inch socket. Okay, so we've got the cigarette lighter plug out, and we're going to go ahead and make our connection on this wire. I'm going to require a razor blade of some kind, a little torch, fire if you want. You're going to need this little guy, some type of little fire stick, and a pair of cutters, because what you're going to touch is going to be pretty hot. So what we're doing is just going to burn some of this insulation off, get it nice and hot. Don't heat the wire up too much, just the insulation. Then we're going to grab the insulation with our cutters, and we're going to strip back the insulation. See how we bared the wire there? Look how easy that was. Really simple. Simple. There's some bare wire. Just heat it up, grabbed it with our side cutters, our little dikes right here, and we were able to get to the conductor of the wire itself. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to separate these conductors, and sometimes you need a knife just to go right in between the middle of them. And what we're going to do is we're just going to open up these guys right in here. See how I'm sticking the knife in here? You guys can see that. So that we can get through these conductors, because our wire is going to go in between this. So we want to don't worry about counting the conductors, just kind of separate it so you got like a space that's kind of even. You're going to make like what we call an eyelet, and that's an eyelet right there, and that's on the bare wire that we strip back. Normally you can do this on the vehicle, but we've taken it off so that we can show you up close and personal how that works. Okay, the next step is going to be to place a wire inside of this, wrap it all up and tape it up so that we have a really good connection for our ignition, and we'll go through that next. Okay, so I went through the loop with the silver wire, and then wrapped the silver wire around the gold. You can look online on YouTube and also find how to do this. There's many videos on how to. And we're going to go one step further and solder it, but normally you can wrap it up and tape it up, you'd be fine, but we're going to solder it. Okay, so what we've got now is we're putting a fuse holder on this. The video system draws very, very little current. We're looking for a sense circuit basically. It's about 20 milliamps, so it's extremely low current draw on this particular input. The ignition circuit is a very, very low current draw. Okay, on ours we go ahead and solder the connection. You can wrap it up and tape it up, it'll be fine. Okay, so we're going to tape this connection up next. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make that hole a little bit larger to get through. Now we're using a Phillips head screwdriver to do ours. Make that grommet just to give it a little wiggle room. We got to get a couple wires through there, so we want to make sure that our wires are getting through there easy. Here's the end of the screwdriver sticking through the opening, making a little bit more room for our stuff to get through there with the other wires. We're going to have power wire coming through there, camera wire, and also the ignition wire, and we'll go through all that step by step. We use Scotch 33 Plus. This guy right here. It's really good tape. It stays pliable for years. And tape it up. Don't disconnect the connector from it or anything like that. Just wrap the tape around, pull off a piece, and wrap it up on there. Okay, you've already prepped. You're all set for your ignition circuit. And we're going to get going on power next. Okay, next we want to run the power cable. The end of the DVR looks like this. It's got this mesh protection on it also. And on the other end, once we get there, the yellow end here is going to connect up to the cigarette lighter for the ignition, and that gives us our ignition signal. So next we've got to force this wire here through this little hole, and it's on an angle, so you just pop the grommet out of the way and stick the wire through, and then you pull it through just like this, lots of service loop, and then we're going to make this connection at the battery here. You can drop it off over there for right now. Here we're going to go ahead and strip this wire and solder it on to the yellow wire. We ordered a bunch of these fuse holders, and we're just going to solder this wire to make a good contact. Let it heat up. You can see the solder fill. Alright, so the next step is this pre-installed piece of shrink tubing is going to slide over top of the connection, and then what we're going to use, we're going to just use a little torch lighter to melt that down. Now be careful not to burn the wire so you don't get too close. You rotate the wire around, get the back and the front good. It's not going to seal completely on the yellow wire because it's such a drastic difference in sizes, but it will seal here good on the black wire. Okay, here we're going to take off the negative battery terminal. Okay, and we're going to simply place this black wire with this ring terminal already pre-installed. It's going to go right back on here, just like this little guy here, and we're going to tighten that back up, cordless it in. We want to make sure these are pretty tight, but don't strip them. Just like that. We'll do the red, pop the red wire in here. Hey, we got picked up keys at the same time. Okay, red wire. Go through this, through that, tighten it up, boom, you're done.